Sunny Central Florida is a far cry from the opening two legs of the 2018 SheBelieves Cup. We welcome you to our coverage of the SheBelieves Cup. We come to you live from Orlando City Stadium in Orlando, Florida, as France takes on Germany. A rematch of a 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup quarterfinal. They've played again since then, but there's no chance at the trophy for either of these two teams, as England leads the way. They have goal differential on their side. A draw in the second half of our doubleheader would make them champions. A win by the United States would unseat England, and they would win their second SheBelieves Cup title. Gorgeous Orlando, barely a cloud overhead. It's 73 degrees, twice the temperature than it was in Columbus for the opening leg just 7 days ago. And a much better atmosphere than it was in New York, where it was in the 40s again. As these two teams know each other well from European competition, and so even in a match where they can't win a title, there is plenty of expectation that it could get chippy and that these two teams will desperately go after a victory today rather than simply come out and play out the string. Mike Watts with you on what is a gorgeous day in Orlando. For both these teams, they've had disappointing results in this tournament. Germany came in, they simply wanted to beat the United States first. That was their sole focus entering, and it was disappointment for the players in speaking after their 1-0 loss to the U.S. that they weren't able to come away with that victory. For France, it was a shocking, complete dismantlement of their team in the opening round in Columbus, a 4-1 loss to England that caused them to rethink things a little bit. They made 8 changes when they took on the United States, found a 1-1 draw against the Americans, and then come here with a lineup that'll look eerily similar to the group that they started in Harrison, New Jersey a couple days ago on Sunday. Steffi Jones walking onto the field leading this German national team that are the reigning Olympic champions, but not reigning European champions, something that they haven't really been able to say in the last 2 decades. Part of the importance of this match, this tournament, is regaining that feeling of superiority in the European region for a Germany team that so long dominated both Euro competition and many of the opponents from other regions that they ran into. For France, this is a group that's never won a major international title. The closest they've ever come was last year's SheBelieves Cup, and in the final match day, they beat the United States 3-0, but their crash out in the Euros causing a new coach and a new philosophy for a French team that hosts the Women's World Cup in 2019, so they have no World Cup qualifiers to focus on. This may well be the most important set of matches that the French national team will play all year long. The United States and England to follow had a pseudo-championship game in the SheBelieves Cup. But France and Germany, plenty of intrigue and plenty of good reasons to watch. Star players on both sides, drawing fans of all 4 countries out. Fans for the United States have already made their way here to see the number 2 and the number 6 teams in the FIFA World Rankings. It's France and it's Germany in the SheBelieves Cup. They enter the field in Orlando City Stadium in Central Florida.
And now, U.S. Soccer presents the national team of France versus the national team of Germany in the 5th match of the 2018 SheBelieves Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats for the playing of the national anthem of France, followed by the national anthem of Germany.
Penultimate match of the SheBelieves Cup in 2018. France and Germany ready to square off as the French starting lineup is a 4-3-3, and all the news was about 8 changes made before their match against the United States in the second match day of SheBelieves Cup. They make no changes here today against Germany, and it's a story of inexperience and experience mixed together. For instance, just the 14th cap for 20-year-old Grace Giorel in right midfield, just the 6th cap for Tunkara at center defense, Toron at right back, her 9th cap, and Gouvon, the forward, with 8 caps. But Sommer, Tine, and Henri are the players that Corinne Diacre hopes will help carry the standard. This, her first year at the helm. Part of this was an experiment of sorts. Players brought into the pool. They have no World Cup qualifiers to focus on, so Diacre trying to use this to the best possible outcome. Here's the starting lineup for Steffi Jones's Germany side, a 4-4-2, and again, it's a group that mixes experience with lack thereof. Schuler and Elzik specifically are young players who are just getting their feet wet at the national team level, but Alexandra Popp was all over the field on Sunday at Red Bull Arena, and Jennifer Marajan is one of the best midfielders in the world, one of the best players in the world, playing under Steffi Jones, who had 111 caps for Germany, the 4th ever coach of the German national team, who took over after an unprecedented run of success by Sylvia Need, who won Olympic gold and a Women's World Cup. Jones has big shoes to fill, and it's a very important tournament coming up for her, the Women's World Cup in 2019. France in their all-blue kits, falling to 6th in the world.
Okay, thank you.
A win today could go a long way in slowing the concerns after that initial defeat at the hands of the English, who appear to have overtaken them within Europe. All the pressure is on them, to be sure, in 2019, but the Germans feel pressure too. They are not the reigning European champions. And that's unprecedented territory. Brescioro for France is only 20 years old. This was the first time in her lifetime that Germany were not the reigning European champions. Perhaps a new era has dawned, or perhaps Germany just taking a step back before taking the lead again. Christina Unkel is the referee. Brooke Mayo on one touchline. Alicia Messer on the other. Leah Schuler over the ball, and we're underway. 5th of 6 matches in SheBelieves Cup. Germany and France. Mentioned just how impressive a win it was for Germany, holding off France in the quarterfinals of the 2015 Women's World Cup. Since then, Germany has not beaten France, falling 3 times and drawing once. It's kicked out by Bouhaddi. Thumbs up from Sarah Debritz. A phenomenal game against England in their 2-2 draw on Sunday in New Jersey. For France, they come off a 1-1 draw with the United States. Leah Sommer scoring, equalizing after Mallory Pugh capitalized for the United States. Helmut Schult. Masri lost it. Magul. Blessa on the overlap. And that's caught by Sarah Bouhaddi, who's won everything there is to win in Europe at the club level. And Masri having trouble bringing that down. It was opportunistic from Magul. Take that away. Masri touches it further. Nice America couldn't hold on. Alzik getting the call to start. Just her 5th appearance for the German national team, working alongside Hendrich. It's a group that's without Babette Peter, the 117-time capped center back. One of the best at her position in the world. Leah Sommer. The German throw. Magul, who came on as a substitute for Germany in the 2nd leg of SheBelieves Cup. Feist plays it ahead. Masri under some pressure, but the flag was up for offside. Magul had a fantastic performance, really created well for a German side that ended up drawing with England but led twice. And so in some ways today is a bit disappointing for Germany. They could still have been in contention for a SheBelieves Cup title. And the right results fallen their way if they had gotten the victory rather than 1 point against the Lionesses. Bouhaddi, Schuler, deeped away. That's clever footwork from Bouhaddi, but quickly turned over to Pop. Played into space by Schuler. Gioro as far as Debritz. The overlap from Feist. Feist at the byline, serves it low, that's kicked out. right before Bouhaddi would have gotten a touch at that. And it's Griezembach. Did well at the center back position. And see her 22nd cap. Play on this right-hand side and try and match the work rate. Les Sommer will work off on the left. Now that's a foul in a dangerous spot, drawn by Magool. Well, a jersey tug there. She continued on despite it, and then it was the second effort by Torrent. Finally drew Christina Uncle's whistle. Germany already one decent service from this side of the field. Step over by Feist. Service headed. Bouhaddi's there. Elzik got the initial header, and there were a couple Germans running onto it too. This is Magool. Knotted out by Alexandra Popp. Popp, one of the star young players for Germany, looking forward. 26 years old, and along with her burgeoning football career, can add her 3-year apprenticeship as a zookeeper to her impressive list of accolades. Gioro, the return. Tine attempted to play through there. And Schuler had the wrong shoulder in mind. 8th minute of play between France and Germany. Germans ranked 2nd and France 6th. But it's the United States and England who have handily jumped at the top of the table in SheBelieves Cup. France falling to England on opening day. In the second leg, Germany falling to the United States. Debritz with Schuler. Now that was Gaëtan Tine. Commits the foul, cedes it back to Germany. Tine just back into the national team fold. This is the 3rd different coach that France has gone through in the 3-year history of this tournament. And Tine, one of the players who fell out of favor under the previous administration. It was Philippe Bergeroux, led the team the first time around. Then last year, the disappointing finish in Euros was the end for Olivier Echouefny. Schuler nearly played through. Mbach got up. Assi. And now Bouhaddi. Les Sommer fouled. Really in some significant pain. It was Sarah Dorzun who clipped her here and stepped on the left toes, Les Sommer's boot. Majri. Hendrich won the ball. Assi coming on with speed here. Well, there could be danger now. Drops for Tine. Les Sommer. Amandine Henry scores it! Wonderful goal for the captain. France leads in the 10th. th career international goal. The former member of the Portland Thorns. Oh, what a strike it is for Amandine Henry. Off what was an ill-fated attempt to clear the ball in the first place. Outstretched Amut Schultz. Can't get to what's a rocket from Henry. That's familiar to NWSL fans, to be sure. Helzik helps to knock this away, and now France jumps out in front. Came over here, played in the NWSL, Henry did, talked about how she discovered another culture, practiced her English over that time, and spoke to the intensity of the National Women's Soccer League on the whole, that of the 10 teams when she was there, it'll be 9 this year. There is no such thing as a step-over game or a game where you know you're going to win. It's a top-to-bottom competitive league every week. Amandine Henry returning back to France, based out of Lille, 28 years old now, was the silver ball winner in the Women's World Cup behind Carly Lloyd in 2015. So a superstar by every measure. And usually it's for being a great holding midfielder, but today, well, that was a special goal for the French midfielder. Ball for Les Sommer. Caught by Schultz this time. Well, Les Sommer just 16 goals away from the French record. How about SE? Playing a terrific ball. Germany, a couple decent looks early on, but Les Sommer and France have taken a good, strong hold of this game over the last 5 minutes. Rijambuk Bati. It's a German throw. Linda Dahlmann's not starting in this game, but Dahlmann, a forward for Germany, started their most recent game and thought that maybe France were figuring things out a little bit. Expected a highly competitive match. I'm not sure these two teams really know how to play any other kind of match when they play one another. Away from Tine. Torrent. Torrent will throw. Mbach backstopping this. Tine. Les Sommer. Tine was making a run. Les Sommer couldn't weave it through 3 Germans. Majri, the recovery, has Magoul on the turn. Les Sommer takes over, but misses Majri. Here's Pop. Well done by Henry. One by Pop. Germany's going to take advantage of this. It's Magoul. After Schuler pressured on young Aissa Tutunkara. Well, how does Steffi Jones' team respond? Against England, they were always leading or level with the Lionesses. Against the United States, they fell behind, and well, in the conditions that they played in, it bordered somewhere between monsoon and hurricane in Columbus. By the time the night was over, it was snowstorm. Red Bull Arena, where these two teams played on Sunday in relatively kind conditions compared to where they played a year ago, is now suffering through a nor'easter. Some 8 to 10 inches of snow dumped in Harrison, New Jersey. But it's 73 degrees and the sun peeking out in Orlando. Masri. This is Tunkara. Pop. That's Masri now. Tunkara. Tine taps it through. Gouvon. Schultz. I'll line that out of play. Gouvon, a young player, won the Golden Boot in the 2nd division in France. And so she's a natural goal scorer, to be sure. But just one goal for France, and it was the 8-0 goal against Ghana. There's Henri, goal scorer in the 10th minute. One worth sticking around for the halftime highlights. Yorl found a bit of space now for Tunkara. Yorl will switch the point. France onto the right-hand side. There's no foul there, but Elzik laying down Gouvon. Feist. Debritz back by Schuler. Feist never made a move for that. She would have been in an offside position. Instead, the overlap from Debritz allows for a German throw. And it's Debritz now. That'll be a corner. And the first time that France will need to defend a set piece against Germany. Headed wide. France eventually with the clearance. German side that last year just one goal scored in SheBelieves Cup. Had a couple against England last time out. One of those was an own goal, though, off of Millie Bright. So Germany still trying to find a little bit of tread here. Get the offense moving. Sessi commits a foul. Debritz is not a fan, and Christina Unkel, Stern talking to. It was a quick restart. Return ball for Blessa was intercepted. This is Henri. Away from Debritz. Marjan has been a quiet option for Germany in midfield to this point. No pressure led to the turnover there. Swung to Blessa. Henri on the header. Giorel, met by Marjan. Feist drops in. Cross field for Le Sommer. Classy first touch. That was off on her follow. Le Sommer, 17 titles domestically and in international play at the club level. She's won everything in Europe. Was asked in November if she would give up all 17 titles for a World Cup title on her home soil. Thought about it. Did say that she could always go back and win more at the club level. So yeah, would go for the World Cup. She says dreams are made of that. And for France, chance to host gives them an innate home field advantage that they hope will end what's been decades of major tournament suffering. Well, that's a clean challenge. And Tine plays an excellent ball up the right-hand side. Essie. And a foul. 40 yards away from goal, Dorzun on the recovery. He stepped in as Feist dropped back into position. And for a French team that didn't have a lot of options moving forward on that play, just Gouvon against 3 German defenders, this is a good outcome. Esmer steps over. This is Majri over Umbach. Majri with Dorzun in tow. Taken away by Magoul. Magoul's going to try La Bouadi, who knocks it down and keeps it away from the line. Oh, that draws an applause from the crowd of both the effort and the recovery from the halfway line. She's trying to embrace her inner Carly Lloyd. Cycled further. Tine will get there. Hendrich. Elzik. Deflected away from Tine. Here's Pop, who's moved further into midfield, was listed as one of two forwards in a 4-4-2, but in reality, it's been a lot more of Schuler and Magul up there. Right now, it's Marajan who's playing in the center, and for a moment, they found her way to the top line. A German team that thought they did some things well. Steffi Jones alluding to the fact that there were individual mistakes that still need to be called in this third match day. Able to come away with real positives. Joanna Elzik kicks that out of play. Elzik, one of those players getting a test drive. Still plenty of time before the Women's World Cup. Elzik stuck in. Down a C. Eugenie Le-Sommer, Amel Majri, the ball. It'll be Majri again. Mood Schultz come out to collect. No trouble at all. Marajan. Back to Germany.
Leute bewegen! Popkopf! Lea! Popkopf!
At midfield. Magul. And back to Schultz. For Schultz, this is her 52nd appearance as a starter, the senior national team in Germany. She's only lost 7 times. Great success for this German defense in her tenure as the starter. But a wonder goal the difference right now, 10th minute. Amandine Henry has France out in front in a game that could allow a team to finish as high as second place. In SheBelieves Cup. But one way or another, one of these teams is gonna finish in last. Schuler. Hendrich. Hendrich. Lessa approaching Majri. Cutting ball into the area. Debritz dispossessed only for a moment. Marajan. It's a goal kick for France. Well, that's a matchup that you pay money to go watch. Le Sommer and Marjan. Marjan playing with Lyon, the only German to play in the French league at the present moment. Le Sommer, teammate at Olympique Lyon. Long run for Schuler. Mbach's in a bit of trouble, but does win the header. And Bouadi at the half-hour mark corrals for the French. Back by Feist, and the French will reload here. It's a group that between September 2016 and the end of 2017 went some 12 months without a loss. A fantastic run of unbeaten play. And yet, it's a group that didn't feel too good after falling to England to start this tournament. But a win over Germany would cure a lot of ills. Le Sommer. Nasri. Henry. Pop disrupted. Not nearly enough to take possession from the Blues. Well, the attack on here for France. The cutback. And now the service. It's a corner for France. France off to such a good start with that 10th minute goal. Germany putting them under some early pressure. And Corinne Diacre seen a good response from her team over the course of the last 7 days. We've gone from the lowest lows to what could be a pretty immense high. Le Sommer kicked down into Schultz. That was Mbach. Blessa. Interchange with Alexandra Pop. Now bypasses her altogether. Marjan. Pop playing Magul. So Magul taking this away. It's a goal kick for France. And if you think about France, it was a week ago, the phrasing used by Corinne Diacre drew a lot of attention, not being far from the requirements of the international level, ashamed, unacceptable, unthinkable. And they felt a lot better about the way they played with 8 different players in the lineup. But Corinne Diacre really undressing her players to the media. It's performance that is unbecoming of a French team that oftentimes performs well outside of major tournaments. But against England, the wheels fell off. They were down 4-0 within 50 minutes. Trailed in the opening 10 minutes of that game. And there are some who surely don't agree with bringing that level of criticism to players in such a public forum. And whether or not that was the reason that things have turned around or not, well, it's tough to say, but Corinne Diacre has one of the most interesting backgrounds as a coach of any women's national team manager on the planet. And if the way she handles things a little different, that might just be okay. Service into the area, ball bounces down, the flag is up for offside. Well, it was a good chance here for Germany, and that's Katrin Hendrich, who scored a couple goals in World Cup qualifying, who eventually was offside. It was on that second ball played in that Hendrich was in an offside position, but Diacre, the first woman to coach at the European men's club level in League 2 in France. And it is interesting, and it kind of goes to the She Believes Cup mantra of the whole thing. When she got her badges, she said there are no training modules that said for women you coach this way and for men you coach that way. Marine Diacre simply coaches soccer regardless of gender. And with France, she's been tasked with an immense responsibility in 2019. As she looks on behind Amel Majri. The She Believes Cup mantra on the whole came into play in 2015 in the lead up to the Women's World Cup. The United States eventually won, the players coming up with the idea. And these four countries have really embraced it over these last 3 years, coming and playing under that motto, She Believes. SC. Elzik a bit surprised that got in on her. Here's Toron to throw for France. SC wins a corner for the Blues. Service kicked by Henry, back across the face of goal. Le Sommer serves, headed over the crossbar. Valerie Gouvon, so close to her second international goal. Le Sommer, service that was going to find either Mbach or Gouvon. Pop. Blessa will catch up to this with Majri in pursuit. The cutback. Pop shoots wide of the post. This bounced up on her, but somehow an excellent curling ball played off her left foot. Pop twice the German Footballer of the Year. The degree of difficulty on that would have been pretty high. Blessa did well to get to the byline and get that service in the first place. Blessa doesn't really have the notoriety of some of the other wing players in this tournament. Really stand out, but she's had a very good week here in the United States, making herself a very dangerous. Fouls against Feist. Throw again for the French. And now Germany. Marajan settled that. Feist trying to play away from two French adversaries. There's room here for Anna Blesa. Leissemer closes down. Now Leissemer going the other way with the help of Amandine Henry. Those two, the real engine of this French national team. Majri overlapping, has a chance to play it out front. And a deflection kept that away. Otherwise, Gouvon would have had a good look at goal. Here's Magul. Blesa. And Magul maybe the best chance for Germany in this match to this point, trying to lob Sarah Bouhaddi from midfield. Marajan slid down, and it's a foul against Marajan as she was trying to shoot. And Tunkara is the player who's writhing in pain. Marajan was trying to shoot that and went right into the back of Tunkara. Oh. Well, the players will jog off the field for a moment right before first half stoppage time. Tonight on ESPN News, the United States women's national team hosts England from Orlando, Florida. Winner take all in the final match of the 2018 SheBelieves Cup. Coverage begins 7 Eastern time on ESPN News. We'll be streaming live on the ESPN app. Ellen White scoring in England's shock upset of the United States last year. Both sitting on 4 points, but the goal differential belongs to England, which means England with a draw could also win SheBelieves Cup. All eyes here on Aissatou Tunkara, who's been previously it was Juvisy, now it's Paris FC. Since 2010, and had just broken into the national team over these last couple of years. This is just the 6th cap for her. And it was an entirely unintentional injury caused by the attempted shot of Jennifer Marajan, who's gone over to check on her. Those two have competed against each other plenty in the French domestic league. And Marajan with Lyon and Tunkara with Juvisy, now Paris. Well, it's a devastating moment with Tunkara was set to come off here in Orlando. Laura George is set to come on. She's jogging now, trying to get warmed up.
Allez les filles, allez!
The referee has added 3 minutes of stoppage time to the first half.
We'll have 3 minutes of added time in this first half. Tunkara, a right back, primarily went to center back for Juvisy, is playing at the left center back position now for the French national team. Will turn 23 on the 16th of March. Still such a young player who's finding her way at the national team level. And they're trying to stabilize, it appears, her leg before they take her off the field. Well, it's a devastating injury that, again, really comes without any intention at all from Jennifer Marajan. Tunkara arriving out of the national scene in September of 2016. Played against Albania in a Euro qualifier. Has started a couple games here in the United States in SheBelieves Cup. And what amounted to a great opportunity to make a name for herself at what's a crowded still center back position with Wendy Reynard and Laura Georges both available, but Reynard's out with an ankle injury, and Tunkara the chance to step in for France. Georges, 187 caps, who's been playing with the national team since 2001, surely has provided some measure of leadership to her in that position over the course of this trip. There's a few members of the French national team still around Tunkara as the medics will help lift her up off the field. Tunkara, part of that 2012 U17 World Cup team that won it all at the youth level. It was Gris-Jembach and Guillaume played on that team. Hadidiatou Diani on that team too, all currently on this French roster. And Tunkara, one of the later players among that group to make her national team debut. But at the age of 22, a chance to play against, over these last couple games, the #1 and #2 teams in the world, in Corinne Diacre, who's been trying to figure out the way her roster is going to fit together in France in 2019. Really got a good opportunity here to look at her. There's going to be a change in the amount of stoppage time, but at the present moment, that almost feels wrong to think about. Well, she'll certainly be evaluated here in Orlando. The French national team will be returning in the next day back to France. And Tunkara may or may not be on that flight as they try and make sure that we give her the best care possible here. Laura Georges will come on, and certainly the rest of this first half and really the rest of this game played under the guise of what was a pretty horrific injury for Aissa Tunkara. And play returns. There should be 7 minutes now of added time. So we are still in the first half despite the clock ticking over 50 minutes. Majri off into the corner. Help coming from Le Sommer. Oh, Majri's kept it still. Wonderful ball skills. Henry. Cross field. Headed down. Lifted out of play. That was Gouvon, who had probably more room than she thought in the area to maybe bring that down. Get a touch in. Germany trying to level this thing before halftime. Played in by Schuler. Came back to her now, Debritz. Muscled away, but Feist. And for Dorzun. And a free kick for Germany. So Feist, free kick, in what may well be one of the last kicks of this opening half in Orlando. Feist, pop! Nearly leveled that, couldn't steer it on target. Pop's had a couple decent looks in the first half. What a great ball by Verena Feist. Le Sommer. Well, there's some space here to work with for France. Feist nearly got that away. Lobbed into the area. Bicycle kick is wide. Viviane Essy. Oh, tried to do something just magnificent. Trying to volley that on the bicycle kick. Schultz. Majri. Le Sommer tossed down. Pop. Henry. Fouled at the halfway line. Dorzun's been in many challenges today. Another tumble there for Henry. He's got the only goal so far, back in the 10th minute. Expert turn from Tine. Henry. Oh, Majri, great step. Le Sommer. Le Sommer weaving in. And now the shot into Schultz from Gouvon. Magic stuff from Le Sommer. Keep it. And Gouvon unable to steer it one way or the other. Helmut Schultz in good position. Well, all this added first half stoppage time due to the injury Thaïsa Tunkara of France. Which happened 3-4 minutes before time had elapsed in the 45. And Christina Unkel being goaded a bit into blowing her whistle at halftime as Bouhaddi waited that out. Elzik. Marjan. Hendrich. Under pressure from Gouvon. Schuler lifts. Long run for Pop and Mbach both. Debritz serves. Marjan was in the area. Bouhaddi makes the catch there. And play had resumed right at the 50-minute mark. So at 57:03, the whistle blows, and we've reached halftime in Orlando. A devastating injury for France, but also a fantastic goal for Amandine Henry. A 10th minute Golasso put France over Germany 1-0 at halftime.